And is it Canadians that just are sort of washing everything with one brush and not being concerned about that?
I think
or is that
I think
just one?
Okay, I think that is a misinformation. I took the latest victim as an example. He celebrated his first birthday in Canada. How does that relate to what happened in Somalia? How is that related to any? That sentiment, I think, expresses and sort of is evidence of what I was talking about earlier, which is that there seems to be a false connection between some of the issues that are happening in Edmonton with respect to individuals who are a product of this society, and somehow falsely linking that to some supposed trauma that they suffered in Somalia. I can sort of accept that argument with respect to their parents, because then it fits the timeline. But most of the numbers of people we're talking about in terms of their age and their profile it seems to fit a more societal Canadian societal product, and I don't think it is anything that they have experienced in Somalia at all. I mean, some of them are even born here. I just gave you an example of the victim who celebrated his first birthday here. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is that the media portrayal somehow misses the stellar record of cooperation between the community and the police, but it also kind of leaves a lot of big gaps with respect to creating a more realistic picture of not just the victims, but the not placing the victims in the proper context of their own community. And using the word Somali a lot kind of takes away from the fact that these are Canadians and that their families are pretty integrated in the society, especially in Edmonton and Alberta. So that kind of gets missed in the picture when you use the word Somali without giving it the proper context.
Ahmed talked about the victim, and you've spoken with his family, his father. Can you tell us a little bit more about the victim, who he was?
I've never met the victim. I don't know him, but I've had the opportunity to meet the family, and it's a great loss for them. Mohammed may be able to speak a little bit about that, but I mean, the family is a pretty integrated family. They're pretty, integrated in terms of their professional lives as well as. The three sisters are bilingual. The father works in the oil patch. I mean, that's a pretty normal Canadian family to me, and I don't see the connection with Somalia. As for the victim, I've never met him in my life. I went to the funeral, and that was my only sort of interaction with anything to do with the victim. So.
Can one of you please address, and this was the case in the last we saw, and some of the other victims as well, that the police say he is known to police, and kind of Collins, what you talked about, like when you say known to police, you're talking some type of criminal activity. So, I mean, from the perspective of the Edmonton Somali community, can you address that?
I think the case we have here is not different than any other case that happened in the mainstream society. Somehow we are identified by the where we come from. That doesn't happen if one of the main young man died. They don't say he come from another. They don't identify his ethnicity. That's one challenge. The other thing is that a lot of the information happening within the community, or these cases, or what they done, that community knows or police know, haven't been properly shared with the public. For example, again, you pointed out, is this come from Somalia? This young man, they don't have nothing to do with Somalia. We don't even know them. There's a cultural gap. They hear, the only country they know is Canada and Alberta. So the challenge is for us right now, we realize that what the public hearing is not what we know, but we never share with them. That's why we ask National President of Canadian Somali Congress to come here, help us to work with the public and share with the information, because not only we lost the young man, and that loss is not only to our community, to everybody. We haven't been doing I can say that we can take as a community, we haven't done any proper way of communicating that directly to the main society. Well, of course, we have one is the resource, we don't have that one. The other thing is the sophistication, learning. We are still adjusting to the new society, and this thing happened, and you are treating us and say, you I cannot say that. It's a lot of things misunderstanding, and that gap is not what is this case is different than other cases. But because of the way the media, the people are fed up with the information is different. So from now, we're not only focusing on solving the problem, we're also focusing on how do we engage with the public in the information of these cases. In terms of what they involve in, that's not the issue. Because nobody has the right to take somebody else's life. That's what the message we're saying. The second thing is that the last victim he was within his community. I was there to drop somebody. I could be there. What does it say our society if somebody came in the middle of the day, shoot somebody and walk away? What does it say? Is it say about Edmonton or is it say about Somali? That's where it's missing. That we have to focus on victim, what happened, and the justice, and solving the problem. So that's where we are trying to focus on, but it's nothing to do with us, and nothing to do with Somalia, because we already voted with our feet. We are a Canadian citizen. We have been here more than 20 years, average. But the challenge for our community is 60% of our members are young. And that, the pain of being immigrant with a new person, it has consequences. And that's the leadership that happened not only to our community, but everybody, that we haven't done enough good job to offer them alternative, that they don't have to. So I don't want to talk about the victim because it's not here we have to talk about, because they have no right their lives to be taken away. The second thing is that we have to respect the families. We don't have to rub the salt against the wound. They already lost. So talking about his activity, that's for us in my culture, and I think to anybody in the mainstream, it's not right. Because what does it say? Do we have a right to kill everybody who we don't agree? We have murderers and child molesters in our church. Do we have to kill? No. We have serial killers. So that's where we want to focus on. I don't know.
What we're trying to get at, though, is that there was a criminal record involved in this situation, and it'll involve in a lot of these situations. I think what we're trying to understand is why are there so many from this one community who are being murdered? I think that's the tough part for the public to understand, and that's where some of these discrepancies come from. Perhaps as you're saying in the media.
I think and again, this time we're trying to answer a lot of the question the mainstream have it. That's why we brought a national president. We're already talking our MLA. We already know half of the equation, but we want to go the fact. We don't want to take rumors. But for us, what we realize is that for us, we don't know some of the answer. And myself, even though I'm in community, I cannot tell you. I cannot come here to tell you why, because each case is different. So if each case is different, then if somebody says it's known to the police, I'm known to police. For me, the community